The weekend is winding down to its final hours. So we are going to be winding up. Wait till you see what Joe looks like right now. It's amazing. And that's all right here on tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. And if you'd like to support the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, it's very easy. Do your Amazon shopping using our referral link that's on the top of the chat board. It's also on the descriptor to this podcast. Just search and shop, and Amazon will send us a little bit of coin for sending you there. Doesn't cost you one penny out of your own pocket, and it's a simple, easy way. It keeps the live version of the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast commercial free, and also brought to you by Tempest by WeatherFlow. Get the revolutionary Tempest weather system and join the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. This link is on the descriptor to this podcast. If you use the coupon code SUMMER 2025, you get to wear a tuxedo like Joe. But in case they don't give you a tuxedo, they will give you.
Well, I literally.
Well, first tell them you got to give them 10% off.
Hey, look, it took a lot to get me to smile again because for the last 5 minutes I've been trying to get on. Zoom apparently changed the rules or whatever, and I had to jump through a few fiery hoops with passwords and emails and security codes. But here I am.
Yeah,
here I am.
You look sharp in that tux.
Thank you. It's not a tux, actually. It's just simply a dark suit jacket with
like a fake shirt and tie?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that. The bow tie is real. No, I just got back from the Hudson Valley Symphonic Wind Ensemble at Sleepy Hollow, where they had asked me to, and it was wonderful. I mean, they had a big orchestra there, and they played music, baseball music, and other types of music to my reading, Casey at the Bat. And I had a lot of fun doing it. It was really quite wonderful. And at the end of the my performance, I was surprised they gave me a lovely, I guess you can call it a statuette or a trophy, to thank me for, it was a charitable cause, so I didn't get anything really for it, except some enjoyment in being able to do this. And like I said, I did it and rushed home because I knew that we were coming up on Sunday night Joe and Joe time, and here I am. I didn't have a chance to change, but what the heck? Thought I'd look a little classy tonight for the show.
Well, Joe, you're classy every night. But I will ask you though, by any chance, was the conductor of the orchestra Sammy Spear?
What did you say, Joe? Because you came in.
I said, by chance, was the conductor of the orchestra Sammy Spear?
Oh, no. No. It was
I
not
know.
Sammy
I knew
Spear.
you would get it. So
No, Sammy Spear was unable to attend tonight. And you got to go way back. You have to go be as old as Joe and I, or maybe a Honeymooners fan to know who Sammy Spear is.
Oh,
but
yeah.
but any
no
case.
question. Well, you're going to do Rayo's radar. Well, unless you're not ready to do Rayo's radars tonight.
No, I will be happy to do radars tonight. It's already raining here.
Oh, very
What
good.
else is new? What else is new?
Yes. We had some areas around here had quite a bit of rain last night. It was one of those deals that if you were on the north side of town, you got like 3 inches of rain, and I'm on the south side of town, and I only got like 9/10. But the rain was pretty much done by 8 o'clock this morning. We had a beautiful sunny day here in North Georgia. Got to 80 degrees for a high, so I really can't complain too much.
Well, I was watching yesterday, Joe, because I believe your part of Georgia was in the enhanced zone according to SPC,
No,
or you were right on the edge.
Wait a minute. Yesterday
Yes.
we were in enhanced.
Yes. Okay. And I said that to Renata, and I said that means that Renata was going to be biting her fingernails all day long because she cares so much about what happens to you.
Well, I appreciate that. It wasn't the stronger storms went just to my north. So they weren't. A lot of my friends that live on the north side of town were saying how how much rain they had and how crazy the storms were last night. But by me, I had some thunder, maybe a little bit of lightning, but it wasn't anything terrible.
Okay, well, it's nice that you survived, and it's nice that you're here, and it's nice that I'm here.
Okay. Well, before we do any weather, I do because I have to talk about this.
Okay.
Um, Yesterday I had, I think, the best day of fishing I have ever had. It was amazing. We actually had to end early because we ran out of live bait, and we I use a service here called Big Old Fish, and Shane, who has taken me out now a number of times, really outdid himself yesterday, and we caught from the first cast on fish after fish after fish. I We stopped counting at 20. I probably wound up catching 30 fish, and I'm just showing you.
Now, when you
Uh,
catch these fish, did you throw them back, or
yes,
did you?
I'm always catch and release. Although I would have liked to have kept. Well, let me just show you. This is one of the stripers I caught, which was on the smallish side. And I was there with my grandson, so we pretty much when we get a fish on a line, we let the grandkids do all the work because it's fun for
Now,
them.
who's the grandkid who's in the picture here? Oh, there he is
All
again.
right, so this is Nolan. He's my second grandson, and that's my son-in-law, Douglas. And he caught this is a largemouth bass, and it had to be like 7 pounds. Unfortunately, we didn't think fast enough and we should have weighed it, but this thing was huge and it weighed. But it was a beautiful fish. And this was a striper that one of my grandsons brought in, and uh, there's my son-in-law again. And this striper was easily 20 pounds. I mean, this was just it was a wonderful day. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, we just had an absolutely awesome time. Didn't have
Even
a
if you didn't catch a single fish, to be out there with your son-in-law and your grandchildren, that made it perfect. That
Yes,
makes
but
it.
I'm just going to tell you that if you're on a boat for 4 hours with your grandsons that are under the age of 7, all right, if you don't start catching fish right away, within about 30 minutes, they're like, okay, can we go home now? So there was no chance of that happening yesterday. They were so excited because now they're, especially my older grandson, so excited over the fact that um, he was reeling the fish in himself, even some of the bigger ones. I mean, he needed some adult help doing it, but some of the smaller size fishes, which weren't that small, they were both reeling them in on their own. So that was really good. They're still talking about it today. So it was amazing. It was just an absolutely amazing day, and those fish were just it was just
They'll
crazy. It was
remember
just
that. They're going to remember that probably for the rest of it. Because I remember, as I said, going out with my father and my uncles when I was like maybe 6, 7 years old, to waking up at like 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the morning, going out on a boat to from Babylon, Long Island,
yeah.
and we were out there catching all kinds of fish, not bass. But I remember the biggest fish I'd ever seen to that moment in my life was this gigunda fluke. It didn't look like a fish. It looked
It's a doormat.
a doormat.
It's a doormat. Well, fishing for
Yeah.
fluke is like fishing. You're fishing for doormats. You're lifting them up out of the water.
Yep.
So, but
Yep.
like I said, a good time was had by all, and I was a happy camper, and the kids were a happy camper. My son-in-law was a happy camper. We all had a lot of fun. So, we've got some severe weather going on in parts of Virginia and Maryland tonight. We've got severe thunderstorm watches up and tornado watches up for Washington, D.C. and Baltimore. But the Marine Air is keeping thunderstorm activity away from you. So you're just getting plain old, light rain stuff.
Today we had mostly dry conditions and a fair amount of sunshine early in the day. But then during the concert, obviously, something happened. Obviously, it got very cloudy. And when we left a little while ago, it was raining lightly, but it was raining. We have not had any sign of any convection. But I do believe that on Tuesday, Joe, we will be seeing convection in the form of possibly a gusty thunderstorm or two. So till then, and it
Yeah,
looks like,
the front looks like it wants to come through earlier in the day rather than later.
yeah, yeah,
So it might be like an early morning thunderstorm as it goes by.
could be.
Could
Do you want
be.
me to show radar or?
Get them ready. I'll just run real quick. Let me go through the watches and warnings, and I'll bring the satellite up, and then I'll switch you back. So just give me a moment
Nope.
here.
Okay.
Welcome to, what's that?
I said okay.
Okie dokie. Welcome tonight,
Turn the sharing on, by the
of
way.
course.
Yeah.
Welcome tonight to everybody on the chat board and to those of you lurking in the background on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. We're glad to have you here too. We're on Sunday through Thursday at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time. And it's there's no plans for a schedule change this week, so that's good. So subscribe to my YouTube channel, turn your notifications on so you don't miss us. And of course, if you like the show, hit the like button. So there you go with the watches and warnings tonight. We're seeing, as I said, we've got tornado watches up for central and northern Virginia into Maryland. We have severe thunderstorm watches in southern Virginia and northeastern North Carolina. SPC's got a moderate risk of severe weather across North Texas. And we're seeing a lot of severe thunderstorm warning watches that are up from eastern New Mexico across northwest and north central and even northeast Texas, central and western Oklahoma, parts of northeastern Oklahoma, southeast Kansas, and across the state of Missouri. Don't want to ignore the flash flood watches that are up for southwestern Pennsylvania and in northern West Virginia because some of the rain today there has been on the heaviest side. Not a whole lot going on around the rest of the country. We've got some heat advisories up in the northwest, a few red flag warnings here and there, but on the whole, the rest of the nation enjoying a quiet evening. And you see on the satellite loop with the lightning strikes on it that the radars are busy seeing those storms now firing up across Texas in a big way. And in the east, we're seeing some numerous lightning strikes going on in parts of Virginia and into Maryland, and also into extending into western Maryland and southwest PA, or at least there were some in southwest PA. A lot of clouds that extend north of there as the next ripple in this west-southwest flow moves along, and we got a couple of more ripples that we're gonna have to work through. So have at it with the radars. Joe's going to take you around some of the local radars tonight to see what is going on.
All right, we will do that. And let's go to the share switch here. I'm going to start off with New York, Upton, even though we don't have very much going on in terms of any heavy precipitation. You can see the light rain or the arm of precipitation that kind of moved in over the last 3 hours across the lower Hudson Valley and into New York City and ports of Long Island. And except for northwestern Jersey, most of New Jersey is out in the clear right now, but that's going to change in the coming hours. You can also see some wet weather over in eastern Pennsylvania. In fact, if we go down to let's go to Philadelphia, you can see that eastern PA has some light to maybe even moderate rainfall moving through. It's moving at a pretty good clip. It's moving from the west-southwest to the east-northeast. And again, at this particular moment in time, most of New Jersey is out in the clear, but eastern Pennsylvania, Hudson Valley of New York, immediate New York City area, and parts of Long Island, and southwestern Connecticut. We don't want to leave you folks out getting some wet weather at the moment as well. If we look further to the south and west, let's go over into northern Virginia. This is the Washington, D.C., Sterling, Virginia area. And you do see that there are some localized areas here of convection, it appears, thunderstorms that are rumbling across portions of northern sections of Virginia and moving across the Chesapeake into coastal Maryland. And this activity also moving on again, a west southwest and east northeast trajectory. Most of the heavy duty stuff, again, staying south of the New York metropolitan area for the moment. I don't think we'll have to worry too much about thunderstorms in the immediate time frame, but again, Tuesday, as we will soon see, will be a bit of a different story. I want to go over to the Midwest. Oh, before we go to the Midwest, let me just show you that there, and I saw this on Joe's GOES satellite view of the thunderstorms and convection. I noticed, yeah, there it is, right there. There's a line of heavy-duty showers and thunderstorms that's now moving offshore out over the Atlantic Ocean. Apparently, this area was affecting coastal sections of North Carolina up until about early to mid-afternoon, but now it has moved on offshore, and that pretty much is the story there with that. Let's go back into the Midwest because there's an arc of precipitation, localized showers, and even some thunderstorms, and you see that here. This is the view from Grand Rapids, Michigan, and you can see that the showery weather moving across Lake Michigan and moving into the southwestern corner of the lower peninsula of Michigan, and also moving through the northernmost section of Indiana. There are also a few heavy cells located in the general vicinity of Chicago, and in fact, if we go to the radar in Chicago, or Romeoville, as it's called here, you see a broken line of showers and storms. It looks like it's becoming more organized as it moves from Illinois and on into Indiana. At least the line looks like it's doing that. And there's another line of precipitation, but this looks like it contains mostly just light precip. And actually, you think about this, the conditions ahead of this first line of precipitation, this first band of convection, probably was favorable for thunderstorms and convection. But once it passed on by, that kind of helped to stabilize the atmosphere enough so that now when this second band comes on through, all you're getting is just some lingering or light shower or light precipitation activity. Let's go further south and west. Let's go to, this is St. Louis. St. Louis is right here, and you see that there are some areas of showers and locally embedded thunderstorms occurring over central sections of Illinois. That's actually the tailing or trailing end of that first line of convection that we showed you a few moments ago. And now also here, localized showers and storms passing mostly north and west of St. Louis, and in fact, petering out before it actually gets to the St. Louis area. But as you can see here, more showers, more embedded thunderstorms over toward central sections of Missouri. And if we continue south and west, let's go to Oklahoma City. Now, Oklahoma City, in its own right, not receiving much of anything, but up in the northern end of Oklahoma, you see some rather significant shower and storm activity. And take a look at this stuff. Now, this is Oklahoma City right here in the middle of your screen. Look what's popping up just to the west, and it looks like it's going to be passing west and just to the south of Oklahoma City, although maybe not. Maybe holding it together and moving on a course that'll take it into Oklahoma City, perhaps in the next 60 to 90 minutes. And this looks like some thunderstorm activity capable of damaging winds, heavy downpours, maybe even a tornado or two. And that, again, moving on a course that looks like it'll be moving into the Oklahoma City area before too much longer, maybe in the next, again, 60 to 90 minutes. We go further south. Let's go into, if I can get this to work here. Here we go. This is Dyess Air Force Base in Texas. And I'm not exactly sure where Dyess is. It looks like it's in the north or northeast section of Texas. But you see it's picking up on some big storms that just popped up out of nowhere just east of the radar site and moving along to the east and southeast. And here are more showers and storms developing off to the north and west. And again, some of these look like they're potent enough to bring down heavy amounts of rainfall, some gusty, strong winds, and maybe even spawn a funnel cloud or a tornado or two. Let me just check one more radar. Let me go to Dallas, Fort Worth. Here we go, Dallas Fort Worth here, and you can see that in the immediate vicinity of the Twin Cities here, Dallas Fort Worth, there was some rather large scale thunderstorms that popped up, developed, and then just mosey on south and west of the two cities. So it doesn't look like they're going to be in any immediate danger, at least over the next few hours. But this is the kind of a pattern. The heat and humidity, I'm sure, down here enough to help to spawn more showers and thundery weather over the next several hours. So some places to watch between now and let's say later tonight in and around the Dallas Fort Worth area. Any other place you'd like to go to, Joe? Or
No, I think that covers it. And Tornado HQ is reporting as of 8:02 Eastern Time. We have 25 severe thunderstorm warnings, one tornado warning, and two special marine warnings. The state breakdown is two in Alabama, one in Colorado, one in Florida, one in Missouri, one in New Mexico, three in Oklahoma, 13 in Texas, and four in the state of Virginia. So that's again as of 8:0. Now it's 8:03 Eastern time, and you see the wide view here on the radar. Of course, if you're watching this on a replay, folks, go to weather.gov to your local National Weather Service forecast office to check out the latest information regarding any severe weather that might be in your neck of the woods. But you see what looks like a well-defined cold front that swings from the Great Lakes southward into Missouri with a line of showers and one or two thunderstorms ahead of that. The rotation behind it with the upper trough is producing some scattered areas of showers across Minnesota and North Dakota. See all the stuff that's down in Texas, also into Louisiana. And we've got some scattered showers in parts of Colorado, up and down I-25. Lately, I-25 seems to be the gathering place for showers and storms, and we've got some showers there. Also, some scattered showers in parts of southern Utah, northern Arizona, across central Nevada, and into the mountains of northern California. Seeing some showers and some thunderstorms there. Storm Prediction Center, we have a moderate risk of severe weather tonight, and that is playing out with one, two, three, four severe thunderstorm, five severe thunderstorm watches there covering the southern plains, Texas and Oklahoma. They were talking on the discussion earlier today about the potential for some giant hail, quote unquote giant hail. So hail the size of, I guess, softballs. We have a small area of marginal risk in southern Georgia, although the radars are fairly quiet there at the moment. And we are seeing the other area is an area of slight risk in eastern North Carolina and Virginia up into southern Maryland. And there we have a severe thunderstorm watch up for southern Virginia and northeastern North Carolina. And then for central and northern Virginia into western Maryland, we're looking at a tornado watch. And I believe that Washington, D.C. and Baltimore are still in the thick of this. And in fact, there was here's a mesoscale discussion that was issued at 7:45. Why did they have 8 4? That must be a mistake. They
what?
put eight. Oh, it's valid until 8:45. Okay, so this is a mesoscale discussion valid until 8:45 this evening, and they've highlighted this area in southern Maryland and much of the state of Virginia into northeastern North Carolina, saying an isolated threat for a tornado, damaging wind and hail may continue through this evening. So SPC seems to be uh, emphasizing the importance of what is going on in Virginia and Maryland. So here's the risk zones tonight. Nice, pretty map here with the tornado risk at 5% in the Texas and Oklahoma area. And actually, the tornado risk in Virginia is also on the order of 5%. And the 5% line kind of noses into southernmost Maryland. Now, tomorrow, we've got a fairly large area of slight risk from Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina into North Carolina, also up into Tennessee, Kentucky, southeastern Ohio, western Pennsylvania, and western West Virginia. Marginal risk surrounding all of that, but eastern Pennsylvania to southern New England is not in the risk zone. General thunderstorm line cuts across New Jersey. So if you're to the east of that line and eastern part of New York State down to New York City, Long Island, and northeastern parts of New Jersey, you're not even in the thunderstorm zone at all tomorrow. And we also have an area of slight risk being indicated in parts of New Mexico and West Texas. You can see where the tornado risk is tomorrow from Mississippi to North Carolina and also from eastern Ohio into western Pennsylvania and southwestern New York, a 2% chance. Day three is Tuesday, and the SBC has now pushed the marginal risk line up to about New York City. So they've got a marginal risk from there southward along the coastal plain through New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, Eastern Virginia, Eastern North and South Carolina, and into southeastern Georgia. Also a marginal risk across southern Louisiana and then going straight westward from southeast Texas all the way into West Texas and southeast New Mexico, and not to ignore our friends in central Montana. We do have viewers that watch from central Montana. We've got a marginal risk for severe weather there. So, going forward, Mr. Rayo, at least in the land of
Yeah.
the land of the European, you're kind of fighting. I guess you're kind of fighting a little bit of a warm front that sets up right across northern New Jersey and Long Island, with marine air up in New England and the warmer, more humid air to the south that's trying to push in. The European generates a couple of patchy shower areas during the day tomorrow, but I suspect that for much of the Northeast it'll be dry. But then we get into some showers and thunderstorms Monday night, which by Tuesday morning, okay, now the Europeans kind of showing maybe the idea that that front is going to approach Tuesday morning, but kind of hang during the day. So perhaps it's justified that they've pushed the severe weather risk up a little bit further to the north if the timing of the front is such that it doesn't really pass through until late afternoon.
Yeah, all it has to do is just slow down just a tad more, and bingo, New York and Long Island and maybe even the Hudson Valley will be in that marginal risk. And I wouldn't even be surprised if on Tuesday, within the moderate risk, within the marginal risk area, they stuck in a small area of slight risk
Okay.
for thunderstorms. It's quite possible. I could see a thunderstorm on Tuesday. The mention of a gusty thunderstorm on Tuesday with that whole disturbed area of weather moving on through. But then behind it, Joe, we've got some great weather, it looks like, for Wednesday, Thursday, and even on into Friday.
I agree. I agree. In fact, you'll probably get back above 80 with this on Wednesday and maybe into the 80s, probably Thursday and Friday.
And
But
in fact, I saw an interesting statistic regarding the weather at Albany, New York. They say that they have not had a weekend without some form of precipitation, rain and or snow. They have not had a weekend without any type of precipitation going all the way back to just before Thanksgiving. Every weekend since has had at least some measurable precip in the Albany area, believe it or
really,
not.
yeah, yeah, it's certainly I know the last 6 weekends in a row because Timothy Veltman, who sometimes watches the show live, but he mentioned that to me yesterday that it's going on 6 weekends in a row up in Albany that have had rain on both weekend days. I mean, we got this pretty vigorous upper low and trough that's swinging through. Once that goes by, we're just kind of in this sort of flattish west northwest flow for the rest of the week. But there are going to probably be some ripples moving along in that flow over the weekend, over next weekend. And the European is actually suggesting that we might see uh, some showers and storms come back starting, let's see. So we go to Thursday, Friday, looks like starting, on Saturday, where we've got some kind of low that's in Eastern Virginia and a high that's sitting up in southern James Bay. So there's probably going to be one of these situations where there's going to be a marine layer somewhere in New England. And how far south does it get? We don't know. In fact, this kind of implies that the frontal boundary is actually going to be to the south, and that winds further north along the East Coast are going to be more from the east and northeast come next weekend. So that's kind of interesting if the flow gets onshore-ish. And then something of consequence coming in around the 8th or ninth day, which would be a week from next Monday or Tuesday, with some kind of low that comes up from the Appalachians and heads off the New Jersey coast. So next weekend it probably doesn't look all that promising, given what the models are showing. Across the South, it looks like there's going to be chances for showers and thunderstorms tomorrow, certainly, with that severe weather risk across the deep south, and that includes me. And, probably more scattered stuff Tuesday, and Wednesday looks like there's nothing. So that's good. Just some scattered afternoon and evening stuff. It gets a little more numerous as we get into later Thursday, and then again on Friday, and possibly into next weekend. So uh, nothing that really stands out in terms of. So we're at the time of year now that sometimes you really can't evaluate the severe weather risk as well as you'd like to be able to do 3 or 4 days in advance. I've noticed this week that we've gone from, tonight with that moderate risk that you see in Texas. I think just a couple of days ago they had a marginal to slight risk, but again, we're at that time of year where you have to sort of evaluate how much daytime heating you're going to have and how much instability you're going to have. You really don't know until you're inside 48 hours. So we'll probably see some changes in terms of what's being indicated for risk as we go along. Brandon Doherty, thank you very much for hitting the tip jar tonight. Joey says your tux looks great. And he said his dad used to work for After Six Formal Wears in New York City for 30 years. And thank you, Steve Lapointe, for hitting the tip jar and for the nice compliment. The best weather duo, the best duo in weather. Uh, Thank you. I'm humbled, which is
Thank you,
very hard,
Steve.
which is a very hard thing to do to to make me feel. I'm humbled.
Now these people are not. I mean, Brandon Doherty, for example. I hope you didn't just hit the tip jar because I'm wearing, and I'm not wearing a tuxedo. Again, I'm wearing a dark suit with a bow tie. But uh, I'd like to think that if you want to throw something in the tip jar, it's more than just for our evening apparel. It's for information. Information like this, for example. This is not
Oh,
actually
he
from
does.
me.
Of course, he does. He appreciates the show very much.
Well, I'm sure they do. I'm
He's
only joking.
Delaware weather guy on
Yes,
Facebook.
yes.
Yeah,
But I do want to mention this bit of interesting information. This is from our friend and probably the number one uh, weather climate person for New York City, and that's Rob Friedelwitz. And if you've never seen, all you have to do is just go on Google and Google Rob Friedelwitz, Frydlewicz. He has a website called the Starry Eye typepad.com, and this is where he keeps a lot of his interesting climatological information concerning New York and Central Park. And Joe, he has just come up with his summation of May: 6.58 inches of rain in May 2025 became the 15th wettest May on record. Now, that's very significant. When you consider records go all the way back to 1869, and this May that we've just gone through is number 15 on the list in terms of wetness. That's really something else. This amount was 2.62 inches above average and was the most monthly precipitation at Central Park since August of 2024, which had just a shade over 7 inches. New York City's rainfall was considerably more than what fell at LaGuardia, but even at LaGuardia, 5.14 inches, that's nothing to sneeze at. Newark, 4.81 inches in May, JFK, 4.43. So rainfall was pretty evenly spread throughout the month. The greatest daily amounts fell on May 14th, which was 1.22 inches, May 3rd, just under an inch, and May 22nd, 0.9 inches. And despite the temperatures being 3 degrees milder than average right through the 18th of May. So it looked like we were on our way toward an above normal month. another above normal month like we were in March, for example, from May 1st to May 18th, 3 degrees milder than normal. Yet, when the month came to an end, May ended up just under 1 degree cooler than average, uh, as the temperatures from May 19th through May 31st averaged, get this now, Joe, 6 degrees below normal. And
Wow.
this was a mirror image of April. April, if you remember, was 3 degrees below average for the first 18 days of the month. And then all of a sudden, in the final 12 days, we had a tremendous warm up and averaged 7 degrees above average. So May was just the opposite, or as Rob Friedowitz points out, the mirror image of April, where we started off, very warm, but ended up very cool. And April was just the opposite. We started up very cool and ended up very warm. Pretty amazing. And who can predict something like that? You look at that, you say to yourself, crazy. So warm in April, and then it got so cool in April, and then it got very very warm, and then just the opposite in the month of May as well.
Yep. A couple of things I want to. First of all, thank a lot of you. Very kind words. Thank you so much. We appreciate it greatly. We love the fact that you guys are all here, and you're the gentlemen and the ladies that are here every night. When I say guys, I mean collectively, male and female. Um, anyway, just want to point out a couple of things. Coin Pig on the chat board pointing out that the smoke from the Canada wildfires has now reached Great Britain, and that's certainly worth a mention. I brought up the tropical satellite loop, and one of the things. Well, first of all, there's been Saharan dust. We really haven't talked too much about it here, but there has been some Saharan dust that moved into the Gulf of Mexico, was over Florida. That seems to have abated somewhat. But if you look closely across the deep tropics, you'll notice two things. First of all, there is dust in there, that sort of milky white area that kind of moves along. There's your dust. But the other thing to point out that you see it really well out in the Atlantic, east of the islands. The lower clouds are moving from east to west, but all the high clouds across the Caribbean and across the tropical Atlantic are blowing from west to east, and particularly this area of cirrus that you see right here in the tropical Atlantic. So, I mean, you've got strong westerly winds going on all across the deep tropics. And while that is there, you can rest assured that we are not going to uh, be seeing much in the way of tropical cyclone development. It's going to have to fight all
Right.
that wind shear. The other thing, of course, tied to all of this is the what has now become a regular thing here on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast is that let's look at the zombie hurricanes that the GFS is blowing up, because it blows them up on every single run. And on the 12Z run, we had a system coming out now. Apparently, the new thing is to generate them in the Southwest Gulf and take them into the Yucatan Peninsula, and you see something there, actually just east of Belize. We've got a minimal hurricane. There's also something in the Pacific that pops up. We do have Tropical Storm Barbara out in the Pacific that's just going nowhere, but into the Pacific graveyard. The 12Z run had a minimal hurricane that eventually goes into the southwest Gulf of Mexico in the long range before it turns north and northeast to off the Carolinas as a non-tropical system. So that's the 12Z zombie tropical system, and the 18Z today. Well, it's got now it has a much weaker system into Belize that goes into the Southwest Gulf, and then it tries to, takes it into Mexico, and then it's got lower pressures in the Gulf of Mexico late in the period with something off the west coast of Florida. Uh, you know, if you look at what's going on, as what we showed you with respect to what's on the satellite loop, it's going to be very, very difficult to get any kind of tropical storm formation, given what the upper air is doing. with those strong westerly winds all across the subtropical and the tropical Atlantic. And that's not likely to change anytime in the next 10 days or so. So until the Europeans got something, they will continue to be zombie hurricanes.
Indeed. Well, we've only gone into the initial first week of the hurricane season. Let's come back late August or September, and I'm sure you'll see those of you who are rooting for those kind of storms. I'm sure you'll have a smile on your face by then. But right now it's a little early in the ball game to get excited. Tom Contino uh, put something up on the chat board before concerning Sam Champion, and he said that he can't believe that ABC is letting Sam Champion get away with wearing a suit, but yet he's also wearing sneakers.
Oh,
When
everybody
he,
does that. Nobody watches these things anymore.
I
I
mean,
mean, Tom, are you like part of that 6% that still watches local TV weather? I mean, they just who cares what they're wearing? I don't know. It's
yeah,
just I used
yeah,
to wear sneakers when I not um for a number of years. I wore sneakers with my suit, but that was in a day where they really didn't, take your shot down all the way down to your feet. Because now they got to show you the floor. They show you the floor of the studio and all the rest of it. So,
and
um,
Renata on the chat board answering back both Tom and Bobby about this, and she writes the set's flooring is probably slick, and he may have a distance between his weather office desk and the set, so he has to run back and forth, which is absolutely true. In fact, unlike the kind of sets that Joe and I worked in when we were at FiOS or News 12, the sets at the networks are gigunda sets, and now it's, this
they're like closets now.
it shows you how time has passed us by. Now they're doing the weather not on a green wall behind them; they're doing it on the floor. They do it. They have
Right.
these gigunda. I'm sure chroma floors that allows them to put the maps on the floor. And so and Renata's absolutely right. Walking, from one end of the studio to the other as they're showing or talking about weather. And also the other fact, true. I mean, and this was the case with us, I'm sure, Joe, where the weather office was all the way over there, and on the other side of the building, there's the studio, and you got to run sometimes when they at a moment's notice when they say you got to get in here, we got to, So the sneakers were, and yes, Tom, yeah, hard to believe. Yes, I wore sneakers for most, I would say like 90% of my time on the air at News 12 and FiOS 12, that's like a quarter of a century. But I wore black sneakers, and that's what I used because it helped me. And Joe, I remember when you used to wear Converse sneakers at
Yeah, that was a long time ago. You ready to do Briller Jeopardy? Because Briller Jeopardy's back today.
oh, we have Briller Jeopardy back.
Yes, we
Okay.
do. So we're doing June records for New York, Joe. June records and chat board. What was the highest temperature ever recorded in New York City in the month of June?
I will have to say it's probably, yeah, probably. I'll say the temperature in June, highest temperature was 104.
Oh, no, no,
No,
no. Christinapedia
but
nails it.
it has gotten into the 100-degree range
Yes,
in June. Okay.
Christinapedia nails it though. 101, and that was on 27th of June, 1966.
But I was thinking about that. I was thinking about the fact that in New York, around the 4th of July in 1966, it got up to 104, 107 at LaGuardia. And I figured, yeah, that heat wave probably spilled over or backlashed into the end of June. And I figured the temperatures were probably on that same level, something like 102, 104, or whatever. But I guess not.
Yeah, Tom Contino says news desks are supposed to be distinguished. And speaking to Christinapedia, and my response to that is, yeah, they're supposed to be they're supposed to be unbiased also. So we'll just leave it at that. And that goes in both directions, by the way. What was the coldest? Oh, I'm
Touche,
sorry.
touche, Joe.
Hey, thank you. What was the lowest temperature in June?
I'm going to say I'll say something really off the wall. At least to me, it would be off the wall. 53.
That is, I'm just gonna say, all right. No, that's actually way too high. The
Oh,
lowest,
really?
yes, Mike Waterhouse Bonsai nails it with 44, and that was on June 1st, 1945.
That was the high.
That was the, no, that was the low, the lowest temperature.
Oh, the lowest.
The
Oh, I
lowest
thought you were talking
temperature.
about the. I. You know what I was
You
thinking?
talk
I thought
about
you
the
were talking about
lowest. Well,
the
that's the
lowest
next.
maximum.
Well, that's the next question. What was the lowest maximum?
Oh, okay. Well, what did I say? I said 53.
Yes.
I'll say 53.
Well, that's wrong too.
Ah,
Uh, but it's close. The lowest high is close. You said 53. Jason Fox gets it with 52. And it was also set in 1945 on the same day. And what was the last one? What was the most rain ever to fall in the month of June?
oh God. Well, all you need is a tropic, some kind of a tropical. Now let's see. Was it 72 that we had? What was that storm? Agnes. Remember Agnes?
Agnes.
Agnes just sat over Pennsylvania.
Agnes.
Yeah, Agnes
I'll
sat over
never
Pennsylvania.
listen to Ralph again.
I will say. I'll just say something on the order of about uh, 7.5 inches.
I think it's the tuxedo and the tie that are hurting you here. No, that's sizably too low. Trying to see if anybody, David Fuller, you're not too bad. You're not too far off with 9. Christina Petey, you're not too far off with 11, but you're in the other direction. Mike Waterhouse Bonsai, I'm going to give it to you because that's very close. He said 10.65, and Vincent Croce's closer with 10.4. It's actually 10.26 inches in 2003.
Really?
Yes,
I don't. Why do I remember that? It was a very
because
wet month of June.
we're in the mid to upper 60s, Joe. We remember less and less.
Yeah, and 2003, June 2003 was my first June in this house. We moved in here in August of 2002. You would think I would have remembered my first June up here being so wet, but oh well.
No, we remember less and less, and everything hurts more and more.
Or yes.
So there you go. All right, I think that pretty well wraps it up for tonight. Uh,
Mrs. Rayo insisted that I show this. Uh, first of all, let me just say again, this
I
was a
accept
benefit.
I'm expecting you to say I accept the award with humility and grace.
I mean, I got a phone call from this gentleman. The name is Jim Wayne, and he was one of the conductors today, and he was almost like hat in hand, asking if I would possibly, loan my voice to this concert today. And like he was, it almost seemed like he was surprised. I said, "Sure, it's a benefit. I'll be happy to help." And he kept calling over the course of the following 3 or 4 months, every so often. He'd call and says, "Are you still there? Are you still with us? Are you still going to do this for us, please?" And I said, "Yes, Jim, no problem. I'll be happy to do it." Anyway, when I finally did it today, this afternoon, again, wonderful music behind me, big orchestra from the Symphonic Wind Ensemble, Hudson Valley Wind Ensemble. And after they finished that, and after I did the Casey at the Bat, I gave a little bow, and everybody was applauding in the audience, and that's when Jim pulled this out, and this was a surprise. This was a lovely award that they gave, and Hudson Valley Wind Ensemble, June 2025, and it says, "Now there is some joy in Mudville. Mighty Joe Rayo made it so." So, anyway, this was a lovely award. I thank them very much for it. They really didn't have to do it. I had a lot of fun this afternoon, uh, you know, with the orchestra,
Good,
and it's great.
good. All right, so we're back to normal. So normal time tomorrow night, correct?
And we'll be here.
Okay, so everybody 7:35 tomorrow night. and have a great night. What's left of your weekend? It's just a matter of a couple of hours. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.
Have a good one, folks.